The phone call that changed everything came on a Tuesday morning in 2018. I was sitting in my corner office at the international law firm, billing my standard $450 per hour, when Sarah Chen called. Sarah was a brilliant software engineer who developed a groundbreaking AI algorithm for medical diagnostics. She needed patent protection, but when I quoted her the standard drafting estimate, anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000, depending on complexity, there was a long silence. "So you're telling me," she said slowly, "that you have no idea what this will actually cost, and I have no way to budget for it?" "That's how legal services work," I replied, repeating the line I'd used hundreds of times. "We can't predict exactly how much time each case will require." "But you've done thousands of these patents, right? You must have some idea of the typical scope." I started to give her the standard explanation about how every case is different, how unforeseen complications arise, how the hourly model protects both parties. But as the words left my mouth, I realized how hollow they sounded. Sarah never became a client. She couldn't secure funding for her startup without knowing her legal costs, and she couldn't know her legal costs without first paying us to find out. It was a catch-22 that killed innovation before it could begin. The breaking point. That conversation with Sarah haunted me for weeks. I started paying attention to similar interactions, and I realized they happened constantly. Entrepreneurs would call excited about their inventions or brand, only to hang up defeated after learning they might need to spend anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 on legal fees, with no guarantee of the final cost. Meanwhile, I was watching my colleagues milk simple cases for maximum billable hours. A straightforward patent application that should take 30 hours would somehow require 50 hours because there was no incentive to be efficient. Junior associates would spend days researching issues they could have resolved in hours, all because the clock was running in our favor. The breaking point came during a partners' meeting when I suggested we pilot a fixed fee model for standard patent applications. "Absolutely not," the managing partner said immediately. "What if we underestimate the work? What if complications arise? We'd be working for free." "But what if we're more efficient than we think?" I countered. "What if fixed fees force us to streamline our processes and eliminate waste?" "Too risky," another partner chimed in. "The hourly model has worked for decades. Why fix what isn't broken?" That phrase, "why fix what isn't broken," echoed in my head as I watched another potential client walk away because they couldn't afford the uncertainty of our and most firms' pricing model. The system wasn't broken for us, it was broken for them. The failed attempts. My first attempt at change was trying to reform the system from within. I proposed fee caps and budget estimates to make our pricing more predictable. The partners agreed to let me try it on a few cases. It was a disaster. The fee caps were set so high they provided no real certainty to clients. The budget estimates were immediately followed by disclaimers explaining why the actual costs might be much higher. I was still thinking like an hourly billing attorney, just trying to make the old system slightly less painful. Next, I tried to create standard pricing for common services. I spent months analyzing our historical data, creating averages and ranges for different types of work. The result was a 47-page pricing guide that was so complex it required a consultation just to understand it. My colleagues were supportive but skeptical. "You're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist," one partner told me. "Sophisticated clients understand that complex work requires flexible pricing." But I knew better. I was getting calls from entrepreneurs who'd been quoted $25,000 for a simple trademark application, not because the work was complex, but because the attorney had no incentive to be efficient. For an attorney at most law firms, more hours equals more pay. The insight. The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to make the hourly model work better and started asking why it existed in the first place. The traditional answer was that legal work is unpredictable, that every case is unique, that unforeseen complications make fixed pricing impossible. But when I analyzed our actual work patterns, I discovered something remarkable. 80% of our intellectual property work followed predictable patterns. Patent applications had standard components. Trademark searches followed established protocols. Even complex prosecution work involved repeatable processes. The unpredictability we claimed was often just inefficiency disguised as thoroughness. The real insight was that hourly billing wasn't about matching price to value, it was about eliminating risk for attorneys while transferring all uncertainty to clients. We were essentially saying, we'll do the work, but you bear all the financial risk of our inefficiency. What if we flipped that model? What if we took on the risk of efficiency and passed the benefits to our clients? The transformation. When I launched Patent Profiler in 2018, I made a radical decision: no hourly billing, ever. Every service would have a fixed price, determined upfront, with no surprises. The legal community thought I was insane. "You'll go bankrupt," one former colleague warned. "What happens when you encounter a difficult case that takes twice as long as expected?" "Then I'll learn to be more efficient," I replied. The first year was terrifying. I had to completely reimagine how legal services could be delivered. Instead of billing for every email, every phone call, every minute of research, I had to create systems that delivered consistent results efficiently. I developed standardized workflows for common services. I created checklists, templates, and automated processes. I invested in technology that eliminated redundant work. Most importantly, I learned to say no to scope creep and yes to clear boundaries. The transformation was remarkable. When attorneys can't bill for inefficiency, they become incredibly efficient. When clients know exactly what they'll pay, they make better decisions about which services they actually need. Within 6 months, I had higher client satisfaction and better profit margins. The fixed fee model didn't just change my pricing, it changed how I practice law. The mission. The real validation came from clients like Marcus, a mechanical engineer who'd spent 2 years trying to patent his innovative solar panel design. "I talked to 7 different firms," he told me. "Every one gave me a different estimate, ranging from $18,000 to $40,000. How am I supposed to make a business decision with that kind of uncertainty?" With our fixed fee model, Marcus knew exactly what patent protection would cost before he committed. He could budget accordingly, secure appropriate funding, and focus on building his business instead of worrying about legal cost overruns. But the impact went beyond individual clients. The fixed fee model democratized access to quality legal services. Startups that had been priced out of patent protection could now afford it. Small businesses could budget for trademark registration. Individual inventors could protect their ideas without fear of runaway costs. I realized I wasn't just running a law firm, I was proving that there was a better way to deliver legal services. Every successful fixed fee case was evidence that the traditional model was a choice, not a necessity. The central lesson. The most rewarding part of this journey has been watching other attorneys adopt similar models. When I speak at legal conferences, I always get the same question: "But what if you lose money on a case?" Here's my answer: what if you make more money by being better at what you do? The hourly model rewards inefficiency and punishes expertise. The more experienced you become, the faster you work, the less you earn per case. It's a system that incentivizes lawyers to take longer, not to deliver better results. Fixed fees reward efficiency and expertise. The better you become at delivering results, the more profitable each case becomes. It's a system that aligns attorney incentives with client outcomes. The traditional legal industry warned me about the risks of fixed pricing. They said I'd go bankrupt, that I'd work for free, that I'd be unable to handle complex cases. They were protecting me from the risk of efficiency. But no one warned me about the risks of hourly billing. The risk of pricing out potential clients. The risk of creating adversarial relationships where client budgets fight against attorney efficiency. The risk of building a practice that gets less profitable as you get better at your job. The biggest risk wasn't fixed fees, it was accepting the status quo because it felt safer. Today, Patent Profiler has handled many cases with fixed fee pricing. We've never lost money on our standard services, and our client satisfaction rates are consistently higher than industry averages. More importantly, we've proven that legal services can be priced fairly, delivered efficiently, and structured to benefit both attorneys and clients. The lesson isn't just about pricing models, it's about questioning assumptions that everyone accepts as unchangeable. Sometimes the biggest risk is avoiding risk altogether, staying comfortable with systems that don't serve anyone well just because they're familiar. The legal industry is slowly catching up. More firms are experimenting with alternative fee arrangements. But change is slow because the hourly model protects attorneys from the risk of efficiency while transferring all uncertainty to clients. The fixed fee revolution isn't just about pricing, it's about taking responsibility for delivering value instead of billing for time. It's about building relationships based on results rather than hours. It's about proving that serving clients better can also mean building a better business. And once you've experienced the freedom of aligning your incentives with your client's success, going back to billing for inefficiency becomes unthinkable.